Life can be filled with challenges. It seems cliché, but it can be. So the challenge is, how do you deal with those challenges when they occur? The first obstacle to being positive when you're facing a challenge, funny enough, has to do with your brain. Your brain is hardwired to look for threats. And this has to do with how humans are. When we were hunters and gatherers, our actions were based on survival mechanism. So in order for man to survive, he had to be extremely alert. He had to be focused. He had to figure out where the threats were in order for him to survive. And that mechanism still exists even within us now that we're no longer hunters and gatherers. It still exists. And such threats now come in the form of negative thoughts, what we call pessimism. So in every situation, your brain is constantly trying to figure out, what's the catch? What is wrong here? So as humans, we are already fighting against the tide. You're already fighting against this. There's something has to be wrong here. So when your brain works in that way, how can you still act in a positive way? In this video, I'll be taking you through 5 steps to ensure you have a positive attitude even when you're facing challenges. Number 1, separate facts from fiction. Very, very important. Humans, we are very good at having self-talk. When you enter into a situation, your brain is constantly talking to you. Oh, you're not a good employee. You're a bad mother. You're a bad husband. You're not beautiful. You're stressed. Constantly, your brain is constantly saying negative things because, like I mentioned earlier on, it's used to finding threats. So what you have to learn to do as an individual is to figure out what I'm hearing, my self-talk, is that factual? And one way you can do that is by simply get a pen and paper. If the thought that's going through your mind is that I am a terrible mother, take a second to analyze, are you really a terrible mother? In what way? And true to form, when you sit down to think about it, you find out that you really aren't. That you're there for your children, you provide for them, you're kind to them. It might just be that situation that you're having a difficult time with your child at that point in time. That doesn't make you a bad mom. So when you're able to separate facts from fiction, through your thought process, you're able to approach life in a more positive way. Number 2, be grateful. I am a big believer of gratitude. Be grateful. When you're grateful, what it does is that it produces a chemical reaction called dopamine. Dopamine is a happy drug, a happy emotion, and it fights against another chemical reaction that your body produces when you're stressed out, which is called cortisol. So when you have an attitude of gratitude, whereby in every negative situation, you are intentional about finding something good, it reduces your stress hormone by 25%. Research has shown that it does that. So if, for instance, like most women, excuse my language, your husband is peeing you off, seriously, rather than you focusing on the action as to why it is that he's annoying you, take the time to reflect on him as an individual. In general, how kind he can be, how thoughtful he can be. He's a provider. Focus on the good things. And by focusing on the good things, you're developing a positive attitude. Number 3, smile. I love this. I've had to learn to be a smiley person. I'm naturally not a smiler, but I've had to learn because I understand the importance of smiling. When you smile, I love science, so I will always refer back to science. When you smile, what happens is that the facial muscles actually sends chemical reactions to your brain. And by doing that, you're able to release dopamine. You're able to release happy hormones. Aside the scientific fact, when you smile, what happens? You're approachable. You're approachable. It's difficult for you to be angry and smiling at the same time. Try it. You're like, it's difficult to do both. So when you smile, it enables you to have a happy disposition. Number 4, be of service. Be of service to others. Especially when you're going through your own issues, when you're having your own problems. When you're of service to others, what happens is it shifts your mind from your problems and you focus on someone else. And by focusing on someone else, whatever the issues that you may be having, at least for that time, fades away. I'll give you an example. On Sundays, I volunteer at an IDP camp. I go to teach English at an IDP camp. And some Sundays after church, I am tired. I don't feel like going anywhere. And I start to, excuse my language, and I'm like, I don't feel like going there. And then I'm able to force myself to say, Toju, do you know what? Go. Go. And I guarantee you that whenever I go, and I'm able to be of service to others. I go and I see my students there and I'm able to impact their lives. By the time I come back home, I'm feeling a lot better. Whatever issues I had before going to the camp disappears. Number 5, surround yourself with positive people. Surround yourself with mentors that have the same sort of attitude that you're trying to emulate. You can't want to be happy and then you surround yourself with grumpy people, people that are sad, people that are not engaging. You can't do that. Surround yourself with positive people, people that will uplift you, people that will elevate you, people that would ensure that you find the best version of yourself. And when you do that, you will be able to cultivate an attitude of positivity even when you're facing challenges. So there you are, the 5 steps to cultivating positivity in the midst of a challenging situation.